the problem seemed to abound, but then we do believe that God will see us through. And we admonish Muslims as well to use this period to pray for the unity of this country and that peace continually reign in this country. But let's get straight to our issue of the day. Don't forget that this program is divided into two segments. The first segment is the issue of the day, while the second is from the pages, which is where we talk about the newspapers and stories from the newspapers. But let's get to our issue of the day now. Much has been said about Nigeria's rising debt profile, economic choices, and the risk they pose to generations yet born. However, a new voice has joined the fray in sounding the warning bell. Governor Godwin Obaseki at the Edo State Transition Committee stakeholders engagement said that the economy was no longer what it used to be, with a rising debt profile and dependence on crude oil that was no longer sustainable.
Although he spoke about a range of topics, what caught the attention of many was his dire commentary on the state of Nigeria's finances. In his own words, everywhere else, the government relies on the people to produce taxes, and that is what they use to run the local government, state, and the federation. But with the way we run Nigeria, the country can go to sleep. At the end of the month, we just go to Abuja, collect money, and come back to spend. We're in trouble, huge financial trouble.
Here is an excerpt of the controversial speech.
The major oil companies, Shell, Chevron, who are the ones producing, they are no longer investing as much in oil. Chevron is now one of the world's largest investors in alternative fuel. Shell is pulling out of Nigeria. So in another year or so, where will we find this money that we go to Abuja to share every month? Last month, we got back for March. The federal government printed an additional 50 to 60 billion to top up for us to share. We say remove subsidy. They say no. This April, next week again, we'll go to Abuja, we will share. By the end of this year, total borrowings, the total we have borrowed is going to be in excess of 15 to 16 trillion. And my worry is that we wake up one day, like Argentina, the Naira will be 1,000, 2,000, it will be moving. Because we don't, you can imagine a family, you don't have money coming in, you're just borrowing and borrowing and borrowing without any means or idea of how to pay back.
That was Governor Godwin Obaseki speaking there. Moving on now, Patience Oniya, that's the Director General of the Debt Management Office, DMO, a government agency established to centrally coordinate the management of Nigeria's debt, blamed crashed revenue and COVID-19 for increased borrowing. Statistics obtained from the DMO showed that the country borrowed 5.52 trillion naira in 2020. As of June last year, the DMO also reported that Nigeria's total debt profile rose to 31.009 trillion, with 36.65% of the total debt stock, 11.36 trillion naira, accounting for total external debt.
This morning, we will put in perspective Governor Obaseki's ominous predictions and examine if there is more to it in the political.
Have joining us for this segment.
Hello, Lola. Hello, Ade.
Right. Now, understanding of Nigeria's debt profile and what that means for the state of the economy is probably something that, one would for in-depth knowledge, one would require, some economic background. However, let's start with whether Governor Obaseki's statement has the coloration of opposition, politics to it. The way politics is played, we know that the opposition never really has anything good to say about, the party in power, and Governor Godwin Obaseki is in the PDP. Is there more to this than a political statement? On the surface, would you say that this is just an attempt to discredit the efforts of this government in the economic sector?
Well, if you look at it generally, so many people have been talking about this. Economic experts, professors from different universities have been telling us, that what we are borrowing, and the way we are running our economy isn't going to go well for the country. But for the politician in Obaseki, well, this is the opportunity. We even mentioned 2023, saying that yes, everything is geared towards 2023. By all parties, even PDP, with Saraki trying to make friends and all the rest.
Right.
So definitely, you cannot take politics out of it, because it's now in PDP. He was in APC for 8 years. He was with Bashir Male, and he was in charge of the economy. So what did he do with it? Didn't he see the in this administration, the area of economy, politics, the way we run things and all that? So yes, it's in PDP. I want to believe that. Yeah, it's saying that because it's in PDP. But beyond that is the fact that I think the elites are now coming to terms with the reality of our economic situation in the country. El-Rufai too last week mentioned something like this. He said we should restructure. He said we should do state policing, and we should devolve power, to the states, saying almost the same thing. And if he's saying we should devolve power, they are talking of 1963, when the regions at that point in time, made their money and paid 50%, to the federal government, and things were running well. And if you recall, he says this is the only federation in the whole world, and so many people have said it, where you don't have state policing, where you have people running to the federal, to collect money on monthly basis.
Right.
And unfortunately, most of our politicians have been living the lie. They are behaving like ostrich who buries itself, in the sand, forgetting that the flags are all open. They have been the cause of this problem, and they know the problem, but they have not taken any action to tackle it. We all know that our economy isn't running very well. I mean, look at the debt profile. You're talking of neighborhood of 32.22 at varying degrees, varying figures, coming on stream. But the fact remains that when you make 3.93 trillion in 2020, and you are paying 3.26 trillion for debt servicing, this is the only country, or one of the countries, where the debt payment outstrips the revenue. And where is the revenue coming from in this country? Oil is going down. Like he said, Chevron is, Shell is pulling out. Chevron is now spending money, for alternative to fuel. And globally, what countries are doing? Green environment. They are now saying oil is just not it again. I mean, they are looking in the area of compressed gas. They are looking into the area of electric motor, and so many, and so on and so forth. So, and we are living in the past. But fortunately, I want to believe that the elites are now coming to terms. They are the ones that have been strangulating this country. They know that this economy will not work, but they have refused to do the needful. And so I'm happy that this time around, they are coming on board, to say, no, this can no longer work. He said so many things that is very, he's trying to absorb the president. And I want to disagree with him. The buck stops on the president's table.
How do you mean he's trying to absorb the president?
No, he said we all attack Buhari, that Buhari, we all lay the blames on Buhari's doorstep. Why not? If not, Buhari failed the election in 2003, in 2011, in 2015, and no, in 2003, 2007, and 2011. And one would have expected, if anybody is coming in, he would have looked at the economy and so many areas. And he told us economy, he told us security and anti-corruption in all these areas. And fortunately for him, he has a pliant National Assembly that even told him emphatically that yes, anything you want, we will do. And they saw all these things, all of them, and they have refused to do anything.
So you don't think it's an inherited problem?
No.
The state of the economy. You know, some say that the recession that happened shortly after his inauguration is, was a result of mismanagement from the previous administration.
There will always be mismanagement. There has been mismanagement, and there will always be mismanagement. What you should do is, you are coming into office, you have a blueprint, you know all the problems, and you know how you just must find a way to fight it. The buck stops on his table. I mean, he knew the problem before he got it, before he got into it. He had been willing to rule this country, apart from being the military. So the buck stops on Buhari's table. Don't let's say we left Buhari to do it. Who would do it? Buhari has all the power, the executive powers to do it, to restructure this country. They are refusing to restructure the country. They are refusing to develop power. Insecurity is all over the place. They are refusing to allow state policing. And I'm happy. Look at Kano now. Kano has inaugurated his own community policing. The East is inaugurating his own community policing. Why are we living the lie? Why are we living in denial? Is this country alone that has refused to decentralize policing system? And it's not going to work. That's why you have banditry all over the place. And look at Kano. They are using CCTV. They know all this technology is there to help this country. But because the elites are benefiting from it, some people are benefiting from this insecurity all over the place. Some people are making money from it. And that's why the president ought to have come out to say, as the president, after the Second World War, I mean, America, the president, Delano Roosevelt came out to say, okay, let me give money, to countries that need it. The grand design, to recover the economy. But we have not, the president has refused to do all, in fact, you wonder if the president is there. Look, so many areas you can speak about. All the industries are folded up. Most of the industries are folded up in this country. That's why prices are going up. Bread. I mean, I don't know the last time you bought bread. Bread has increased double fold. Look at water. Sachet water now is 10 naira, 15 naira in some places. So what is working? The economy is not working. We are not generating any revenue. The oil that we believe in, and that's what Obaseki is talking, is fluctuating based on international prices. And it's because of our own dereliction of duty. We have refused to produce oil internally. Most countries, they do. Saudi Arabia, Angola, they refine their petroleum products to make it easy for their people. We have refused to do all that. We have been spending money on turnaround maintenance, putting the money, corruption. Just let's look at Venezuela, for instance. Venezuela is in the same situation that we are in Nigeria now, or Zimbabwe, because Venezuela in 80, but because it became a rentier state. It depended only on oil. And see what has happened to Venezuela. See what happened to Zimbabwe. Just to buy one item that ought to have gone for. In our own country, India, when you just manufacture virtually everything, look, there is no house or household that you don't find a Chinese product. No. Are you talking of radio sets? Are you talking of handsets? Are you talking of shoes? Are you talking of, just mention it. We are not producing, and that is the problem. Why are we not producing? Why have all the factories gone down and nobody is saying anything? Now it's dawning on the elites to say, yes, we cannot continue like this.
Part of the concern you raised is also that the federal government actually printed money,
right?
And there's been a number of conversations. We hope to say have economists on the line who would also delve into this. But from your own view, is this the solution? Government, when there is a shortfall in the allocation to be distributed, government just goes ahead and just prints to augment and then just share.
Now, there's nothing wrong in printing money. I mean, economists have said that much. It depends on what you are spending that money on. If you are spending it to satisfy the luxurious lifestyle of our senators, of our House of Representative members, from local government chairman up, then it doesn't work that way. But if you are spending that money to produce, the problem with hyperinflation is the fact that you are not producing. If there is an increase to the tune of 50% in any economy, you have hyperinflation. If you are talking of borrowing money or printing money that does not support your GDP, gross domestic product, you have hyperinflation. The fact remains that we have not been, there's nothing wrong in printing money. Other countries print money. In fact, America, during this pandemic, printed $4 trillion. Pound sterling, provided you have what you are producing to back it up. What are we producing in Nigeria? I do not know anything that we are producing seriously that has not increased. So there is nothing wrong in printing money. All other countries do it. In fact, some European countries were badly affected some years ago. In fact, in the last 2-3 years. Why? Because they sidelined their central banks. And central banks control commercial banks. And once central banks print money, it is targeted towards a particular product. European countries depended on the euro, and they suffer for it because they neglected their central bank. Central banks are supposed, central banks can print money. There's no disadvantage in it, provided you have something you are producing to back it up. I think that is the problem with Nigeria. It's not solely and totally bad to print money. But in fact, this is the first time, I've been hearing it, but this is the first time that a governor will come out to say we printed so amount of money. Although the central bank is saying we don't know where he got his brief from. But the fact remains that we printed that money, and we printed that money because we are not producing. And we have printed that money to satisfy the whims and caprices of some legislators that we have been crying all along, that their money, what they take home, should be reduced.
All right, well, Governor Obaseki said a lot in that clip. He, as you said, he spoke about major oil producers like Chevron and Shell either considering alternative energy sources or even moving out of Nigeria. He spoke about the FAC allocation.
Yeah.
He, sort of made a prophecy that debt will have risen, probably external debt he means, to 15 or 16 trillion at the end of this year. He also talked about the top-up that Gboyega just asked, the money, the 60 billion that he says was printed to top up the FAC allocation for the last month. He spoke about the kickback against subsidy removal, which, we've been told has been removed so many times. And where I would like to focus on right now is he also mentioned that other countries are run based on taxes from their citizens. Now, that is a very dicey topic, especially for Nigerians, because many feel that even with the taxes we pay at the moment, we cannot account in Nigeria is one of the cheapest. That abroad, in the U.S. specifically, the students incur loans and debts to pay off. And here we have it. The issue of taxes and taxing the citizens more to increase revenue. What do you think about that?
Taxes, or taxation generally. Virtually everything that they need. That's the reason why America frowns at it. In fact, in most European to cut because of avoiding tax, because they provide all the virtually need. The elite. Look, the vice president came out last year to say even in the whole of Lagos State, yearly, a lot of deduct it from source. And the worry market women, they chase them all over the place. But the rich don't pay tax. We see what they do with it. Unexplained tax, unexplained wealth. Country is not been able to do it. Whereas in other climes, they pay. Look at Japan. What does Japan have? But gladly, people pay taxes there because they see everything they need: transportation, water, food, everything they have. But here, they don't pay taxes, especially the elites. So, taxes are very important. But the way the country is now, you are taxing the poor, which is very wicked as far as I'm concerned. Now, you have increased VAT, you have increased company tax. Or whatever, April, it has gone up. And even fuel, we are at it again. When Obaseki talked about removing fuel subsidy, I shuddered, because if you remove fuel subsidy in this country, the poor will suffer.
Well, it has been removed. The president told us it has been removed.
No, he's even now said yesterday or day before yesterday that it's going to be there for 6 months. The president said we are going to return it. That for fuel subsidy, that we are not going to, we are going to pay taxes for the next 6 months because of the poor. So if they remove fuel subsidy, the people who will suffer, the carpenters, the barbers, the vulcanizers, you and I, the market women, because they have to go by transportation. People who produce food in the hinterland, they can't bring their of fuel. Let there be a way, to overhaul, our refineries. All this turnaround or whatever will not work because they put the money inside. It goes down the drain. It has not worked. Billions, trillions of dollars have gone into fuel subsidy, into maintenance of our refineries. We have not been able to build any refinery. In fact, a country built a new refinery recently. Just last week, it was in the papers. The money we are spending on turnaround maintenance was more than enough to build another 4 refineries that we have in this country. So, fine, give it to people who run it better. But if you say remove fuel subsidy, if you want to remove fuel subsidy, allow these modular refineries to fester. Let each state have its own modular refinery. Let them run it, let them operate it. Or let's give it to some other people to run for us. Then you can remove it. But if you remove it now, so many things will suffer because Nigerians have been taxed to nonsense. Virtually everything is been taxed. You are talking of fuel, everything has been taxed. So I do not agree with him when you talk of removal of, where he spoke about removal of fuel subsidy. For now, I think government, so many countries, subsidize product. America, only 5% of people, produce the food that America is. America, so many countries in Europe subsidize one thing or the other, especially agriculture. Look at the way food is rising now. Well, I mean, I'm sure, people, our wives have been telling us, that, so what are Nigerians enjoying? That's just my worry about this fuel subsidy removal. It's been the problem of those people who have been leading us. Yaradua sold those things. OBJ, Basanjo came back. OBJ sold them. Yaradua came back and said, no. What has become of it? Since Yaradua died, they have been turnaround maintenance going to trillions of dollars. The money is going down the drain. So we cannot continue like this. It doesn't work that way. So,
part of what Obaseki also spoke about is the local government system.
Right.
He was talking about how in the past, local government were allowed to function or how things should be.
Yeah.
But, he still somehow, talked about restructuring. But then, do you think that this restructuring one that, everyone talks about is, a one-size-fits-all that, just comes and then solves all our problems? Then the local government, system that he was talking about as well. Do you think this could, help solve this challenge of economic woes that we find?
I think it will, to a large extent, solve the problem, especially the problem of insecurity. Because and that's the reason why I like the Kano way. Kano it has gone just to the wards, to say from the ward level to the village level, to the local government level. You have leaders who will look at our security. The local governments have been neglected, and we are suffering for it. I mean, look at what they used to do in the past. Local government, in fact, up to a point, they even fixed bridges and culverts and what have you. The government. If you want everything to fall in line, you are talking of, yes. One is what Obaseki is talking about. Why must we be going to Abuja to collect money on a monthly basis? Whereas, look, there is gold in Elisha. There is gold in Zamfara. The problem in Zamfara, they bring helicopters to take our gold and go abroad to sell it. And that's the money Zamfara should be collecting legally, if it is well done, and be paying money, to the federal government, as was done in the past when we had coconut pyramids all over. We have palm oil in the east, we have cocoa in the west, and all that. And they did a lot, with what they had at that point in time. We must go back to that era. That is one thing restructuring will solve. Nasarawa has over 23 mineral resources. Are you $1 billion, $1 billion naira? The people living in this area, because Lagos is very, Lagos uses all these things. Even at the national level, we have not invested. Look, Saudi Arabia has lots of money in its bank in abroad to even do our own sovereign wealth. It took Okonjo-Iweala and Obasanjo to say, no, we must put 1 million there, because according to the governors, every money that is generated, it must be shared. So all these things, restructuring will take care of it. And I expect that this fifth alteration, if our political elites, the leaders, the National Assembly members, senators, House of Reps, if they love this country, that is the only opportunity to restructure. This country, even we are not sit down to say what we want as per all the 200 ethnic groups, let them do it through this alteration. There are 68 items in the exclusive legislative list. Let them devolve more to the states. Let the states generate their own revenue and pay to the federal. And if we believe that this will continue to go to Abuja, it will not work. And that's the alarm this man is raising.
Will we not come back to the same issues that we have of bad leadership? If we devolve to region, or we allow states to manage their own resources. If those at the helm of affairs are still, the sort of politicians that we seem to always end up with, in this country, will we not still be back to square one?
Yeah, I recall in social science, we used to say that when you steal money from the federal, it belongs to all of us, now our money. But if you steal the money belonging to your to happen if we agree that states should generate their own money, because by then we'll look at the money. Share it. I mean, sometimes I interview somebody on Ibori, and he said, Ibori stole our money. It belongs to Delta. What's your problem? Whereas, if it has been if the money was generated by Delta State, Delta makes 40 billion naira on monthly basis from IGR. If it has been the money made by Delta State per se, they won't allow Ibori to steal it because it will affect development, it will affect the youth, it will affect employment, it will affect virtually everything. So that's how we are going to solve that problem. It's not going to be bad leadership again. That's the reason where these things happen, where people generate money, or you don't even pay tax. Spiro Agnew in 1969, vice president, he evaded tax and he was taken for it and punished for it. In Israel, at the Netanyahu, so many of them have been, have been harangued now, because they evade tax. There is no country where you evade tax and they take it lightly because the money belongs to that area. But in Nigeria, I do not see it happen. National cake. It's national cake. Belongs to nobody.
Okay.
A quick reminder that you can also be a part of the program this morning through the phone lines or even via social media platforms. We have a live stream running as we speak on Facebook. You can drop your comments there. You can also do that on Twitter as well. Don't forget to put the hashtag Panorama so that we can track your tweets. The phone lines, maybe Lola will take us through the phone lines so that we can get your thoughts.
You can get across to us via 0817-444-1067, 0817-555-1067. That's also our WhatsApp line as well. Drop a comment on WhatsApp for us and we'll read it out loud. The final number is 0704-400-1067. So you have your pick. You can call via the phone lines. You can drop a comment on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on our live stream, Twitter at Splash FM 1067. Hashtag Panorama so we can easily track your tweets. We're discussing Governor Obaseki's dire commentary on the state of Nigeria's finances. He spoke at the Edo State Transition Committee stakeholders engagement and he said a lot. Maybe we'll have a recap later on and listen to an excerpt from that clip where he was seen making some of these comments. But we have a call, so let's take that and then we'll get back to the discussion. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is position. It as a political statement, but it said the obvious. Now, Nigeria is in serious problem. And people have been crying, we have been talking, we have been saying it. There is need to sit down, and that is why we're calling for some leaders are afraid of this. The required. And if we need to move on,
We do appreciate you. You two can weigh in on the state governor last week. He talked about a number of things we have also discussed. Hello, good morning. You have the floor, Mr. Oluwa.
I was waiting to get the other reaction to Obaseki's comment, but I'm happy when the emeritus in the House just highlighted the CBN result. Also, the Obaseki's statement has to be carefully audited for authenticity, or else not teach a national printing of currency to satisfy it. That is the theory of printing money. If you do day by day, it is an economic damage. That's my
part, but we've not been able to reach him. Just to also have, another perspective to this. But we are able.
The average Nigerian does not need a government statement to understand that we are in a recession. When you come back from work and you buy more and egg, and the more egg has reduced, you know. When you shave for 150 and you now have to shave for 200, you know. When you have to go to work and your tidy fare is 200 naira, it has not been 20 naira, and it does not care about how you look like, you know. When you buy bread 100 and the size has reduced, no. When you eat banga before and the president, the president was the man who cried that he would never contest. He was picked up again from his farm. This president, even though he has an economic team that's one of the finest in the world, he lacks the political will to move this nation. It's a well-known fact. And all the top scholars in this country have made that clear. When President was trying to give the Americans when you go out to the street from when you live in your studio and see the average Nigerian, not the ones who are hiding in their exotic mansions, you will see the raw.
Hello. Good morning. What's your name? Please stay on the line. We're attempting.
I am.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
Apollo is my name. I'm calling from Abel. Governor of Edo. He must have said something. Why are these people like this? He was once a governor under his. He never came out to say things like this. All these are so-called them. They know everything. Take a giant step or a bold step correct. So these are things we have been hearing for years. These are things we all know. We need more than mere giving conclusions. We need to have, because things are very wrong in this country. Nothing is working fine in this country. We all know it. But they are not ready to do anything. And that's why I keep asking. Power in politics. They are not ready for the good of this country. We that are the masses, we keep making noise, we keep talking. They are not ready to do anything. They value their pockets, and they are forgetting that they know this forever. What can we do to face up to these people so that they can have? Are you telling me that the major problem we have in this country is not partly from the National Assembly, where they have not given us the needed laws for a good institution that will guide the activities of people that are in political or public office. What about judicial independence? Everything is wrong. If Nigeria is going to come out of this mess, and how will Nigeria come out of this mess? Because these people will never help us. They know the truth. When they are not together, they say the truth. But when they are together, they keep news. What kind of people are these people? How are we coming out of this? It is a problem we can't solve for now. So me, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for your contribution as well. We have time to take some more calls. Keep them coming. We'll take as many as we can. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Ayaro Jolu.
Gboyega and Lola. My name is Aro Ujeli.
Good morning.
Calling from Meduteni. And I want to salute my yoga.
Good morning.
Good
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Obateki has said the obvious, and he must have been born out of frustration and a feeling of we just must do something. But in the other one, speaking like this, when you hear the way our political leaders talk, it's as if they give us a kind of this morning. See, one day I didn't take my car to the office, and I stood in front of the high school, and I called camp. Usually it was 50 naira. I was surprised. I gave this 100 naira, and I wanted change. And, and it was the people inside the taxi that told me, he said, look, guys, oh, you don't pay me 100 naira. Today, you cannot come to a car for 100 naira. You'll be paying 150. I want to salute the doggedness of Nigerians. Nigerians are suffering, but I see that they cannot do anything. Speechless, they can continue to manage for as long as the earth continues. It's not so. I believe that we are reaching the boiling point, and anything can happen. I want to plead with those in authority to say that people are hungry, and a hungry man is an angry man. May they not see the anger of Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We know things are hard, but then boiling point and anything can happen. Well,
We trust that Nigerians are peace-loving people.
yes, I do agree with you. The phone lines are still open, and all our social media platforms as well. Don't forget that the WhatsApp option is also very much available as well. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling?
Good morning. My name is Adembe Larewaju.
Come again?
Adembe Larewaju.
Okay, where are you calling?
I'm calling from Abantoko.
All right, you have the floor. Please go on.
Thank you very much. You see, we that are other people in this country, we see that this is just like it's like a film, and that is replaying and play again. In 1981, there was an economic recession when FPA by then was practically how they will remove the Mama Dapa. Chief Baba came out. The Nigeria is a mess. That's an economic recession. And if you don't tackle it, the next generation will suffer for it. But before we went over there and said that, there's nothing happened. So we have never heard in the dustbin. So people who will sit down and said, we want to tackle this country. We don't have all the mind, like in the old days, that we want to pay this country out. They only making noise. What is their contribution? See money everywhere. We can start from somewhere. If in our house, the personal person, you have a problem, you look where it started, then you be silent tackling it, and within a short time you get over it. See, they have the money, they are not using it. They will not assess people. They will give law will come. They yeah, I never see this type of this thing. So whatever, what university was saying, is right, not a political statement. I belong to the other side, true, but it's not a political statement.
All right.
It's exactly the state of the nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, too, for your time. We do appreciate you. Don't forget that we wrap up this segment very shortly. But before that, I'd like to ask you, a lot of our callers, back to Eddie, I know now, a lot of our callers have, been saying, well, we have to be careful about this statement from the governor, but as such a weighty statement that the federal government printed money, in the papers today, we are not aware of printing of 60 billion naira as a claimed according to the CBN, according to the federal government. But would a governor, an acting governor, come out to make such a statement if it's not true? Do you think that would...
I don't think that is true. They have information coming from different angles. In fact, you won't be surprised if somebody from the CBN, who would not want to be named, in fact, the 2021 budget cannot run unless we borrow 6.1 trillion naira. No doubt about it. Is between 2.6 billion and a trillion. So the federal government is it couldn't have lied. There's no doubt in that fact. But the question is, if he were still in APC, would he have said that?
Good morning.
That's just the question.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This broke federal government pays for 1.24 million naira every month for newspaper allowance. And struggle to pay about doctors 5,000 naira allowance. This is not broke. This is wickedness in high places. It's simple as that.
All right. Thank you very much, Nicholas. You can keep your comments coming through on WhatsApp, Facebook, or Twitter if you'd rather type it than say it. But you can also call us. We've got a couple of minutes on the clock. For those who missed what Obaseki said, we have an excerpt from that clip, so we'll play.
The major oil companies, Shell, Chevron, who are the ones producing, they are no longer investing as much in oil. Chevron is now one of the world's largest investors in alternative fuel. Shell is pulling out of Nigeria. So in another year or so, where will we find this money that we go to Abuja to share every month? Last month, we got back for March. The federal government printed an additional 50 to 60 billion to top up for us to share. We say remove subsidy. They say no. This April, next week again, we'll go to Abuja, we will share. By the end of this year, total borrowings, the total we have borrowed is going to be in excess of 15 to 16 trillion. And my worry is that we wake up one day, like Argentina, the naira will be 1,000, 2,000, it will be moving. Because we don't, you can imagine a family, you don't have money coming in, you're just borrowing and borrowing and borrowing without any means or idea of how to pay back.
You had it right there. That was the statement from Governor Godwin of Baseki, which is what we reviewed this morning, in case you missed it when we started the program.
Right, we've got some comments online from Twitter and WhatsApp, such as this one from Olaniyi from Italshin, who says, "We are in for it from prime pan to fire. How can we move forward economically and security-wise when our leaders are not doing the needful? Now Chevron is leaving the country and investing in alternative oil, yet the federal government is still spending money on discovering of oil in the north. Countries are advancing technologically, but Nigeria is living in the Stone Age, battling with poor power supply and insecurity. If we say something now, some stooges in some quarters who call themselves leaders will say we are killing and attacking their people. And that is because the president is okay. He says, may God help us." Let me just leave it at that. All right, we have to go on a commercial break now. Eddie will stay with us for when we return to review newspapers from the pages, and we'll also take the rest of your comments online, so please stay tuned.
We're not going to cuss at you. We're not going to yell at you.
We're just going to give you the best of information and entertainment that everyone can agree on.
Splash FM 106.7.
Mo commander mo tún ti dé o ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi. Mo mọ IAS ohun tán bá sọ. Ni wọ́n máa ṣe o IAS ohun tán bá sọ. Ni wọ́n máa ṣe. Àǹfààní ayọ̀ kan ló wọlé mi. Pẹ̀rẹ̀ ó pọ̀ débi pé mi àtẹ̀bí mi a ò lè dájú. Torí ohun tó bá náírà kò sí fẹ́ nìkan rárá. IAS mi rẹ tí mo ń sọ wá gbọ́. Àǹfààní eléyìí tó ta wọ́n yọ gidi. San 20,000 nínú owó ilẹ̀. Tó bá fẹ́ mo gba tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì tó máa fi jẹ Camry tuntun jájá. Big Daddy pẹ̀lú mọ́tò ló ń bẹ nílẹ̀ fún ẹ jájá. San 20,000 nínú owó ilẹ̀. Tó bá fẹ́ mo gba tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì tó máa fi jẹ Camry tuntun jájá.
Wow! Láti jẹ nínú àǹfààní yìí, kọ sí iléeṣẹ́ IAS pé 090 33 77 31 89.
ẹ má gbàgbé o ọjọ́ kẹfà oṣù kẹfà la máa ṣe àgbéyẹ̀wò iye ẹni tí tíkẹ̀ẹ̀tì oríire ti wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀.
Do you feel the need to take your business to greater heights, grow your business and services beyond your wildest imagination, and have your business and services get to your targeted audience in good time? Worry no more. The integrity station, Splash FM 106.7, has got all it takes to put your business and services on the map and give you the desired reach that you need. With our affordable rates, amazing reach, and quality programs, you can rest assured that we will take your business to greater heights. Do business with us today. For inquiries and advert placements, outdoor coverage, events, and many more, contact us via telephone on 0811 249 0577 or visit our corporate office, Kilometer 1, MKO Abiola Way, Abetu Junction, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Splash FM 106.7, Abeokuta, the integrity station. We always have you covered.
Àǹfààní aláìlẹ́gbẹ́ iṣẹ́ ń tẹ̀síwájú o.
Àkọlé màrà lẹ̀.
Iléeṣẹ́ àgbájọ Homes and Property Nigeria Limited lórí àwọn ilẹ̀ wọn fún ẹni mẹ́wàá ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ láàárín ọgọ́ta ènìyàn. High level city randa 200,000 tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí 100,000 lẹ́sàn. Tí ẹni mẹ́wàá yóò sì láǹfààní láti gbalẹ̀. ẹni mẹ́wàá ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ tún láǹfààní láti gbalẹ̀ láàárín àádọ́ta ènìyàn bákan náà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ilé oko àpèsè village lọ́nà ayétòrò lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ títì gan ló wà pẹ̀lú ilé oko orílẹ̀ ìlúgùn lọ́nà Ìbàdàn Abẹ́òkúta 30,000 àlẹ́sàn. ẹni mẹ́wàá náà sì tún láǹfààní láti gbalẹ̀ ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan láàárín àádọ́ta ènìyàn. Tẹ́ bá ti ralẹ̀ níléeṣẹ́ àgbáyọ Homes and Property Nigeria Limited lẹ́ẹ̀mọ̀ gba tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì àti dọ́kúmẹ̀ntì yìí gan. Number 39 NTA Road Ọ̀gbẹ́ Abẹ́òkúta 07044648338 07044648338 pẹ̀lú ìpè àwọn ènìyàn ló fún wa sún síwájú di ìparí oṣù kẹrin tásì yìí kò tó rire. Ẹ máa bọ̀ ẹ wá jẹ àǹfààní oríire tí yín o.
Àkọlé màrà lẹ̀.
Tí bá lówó má ṣe fàájì ara mi o. Èmi ò ní ṣe bí bàbá olówó lẹ́yìn kìràkìtà tààrọ̀ ó tún délé kò sí ná. Bàbá tán jẹnẹrétọ̀ ìyẹn ń ṣe gbogbo gbagba o. Ìgbà tó máa ń dágó méjìlá òru onílé ọ̀tún. Polówó fowó ráyọnu fowó ráyọnu Mr. Sim.
Ìkò kàn yín pínpín tẹ́ ẹ bá ti wá bá wa sọ àsọyépọ̀ ní June 6 Energies Nigeria Limited. House, Quarry Road, Pepsi, Abeokuta. Telephone 0812-926-7722.
ẹ wo ajíkòrèdé sí kòrèdé kòrèdé ó máa proper. nínú àwọn tó ń talẹ̀ o kòrèdé yẹ kọ́ yẹ tí wọ́n tàpá plot kẹ́mọ́ wọ́n ti kòrèdé ilẹ̀ wọn ló ṣe ẹ̀lẹ́ tó 50,000 ní kòrèdé òmíràn tún wà tó jẹ́ 150,000 kòrèdé ẹ wò ní kọ́ bá pẹ́ 400,000 ní kòrèdé òmíràn ní kọ́ bá pẹ́ 3. ilẹ̀ máa ń kọ́ 100,000 ní kòrèdé. ẹ̀ẹ̀mejì kòrèdé ẹ wò ẹ pè wọ́n sórí aago.
090. Ìparí oṣù kẹrin làǹfààní yìí yóò máa.
ajíkòrèdé home and properties ní kòrèdé.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. As promised, we're back and we are about to delve straight into the newspapers and bring you the headlines. But first, of course, let's take the comments on social media. Taking Olajuwon's comments, let's of mouth is the least that Nigeria needs now. What has he done for 4 begin with him also? That's interesting. Nicholas on WhatsApp says we need a new deal like that Roosevelt gave Americans during the Great Depression. I just pity the intelligent men in the economic team. That's it on WhatsApp. Gboyega, we have some comments on
Twitter. Edu_Aziz said it will be dangerous. Dismiss Governor Obasanjo's statement as mere political. Sadly, while the average Nigerian sinks deeper into. And then we have Ireba Mishoyinka. He said, I'm not surprised by Governor Obasanjo's comment on the bad state of the economy, but it's just sad that Nigerian people will still go out in 2023 to vote these clueless people and political. One, thank you very much. All that contributed. Newspaper here.
I have the Vanguard.
We are pressed for time. About DMO blames a rise in debt, and with riders, US, UK, other countries. IIN Director General, we are not. Government. The other major story here is Olaniyi back. Have also come together to create something like a Motekun, so we'll get to that. Today, that's on page. That's some comment. Look out for Nigeria's major imports. That's according to the National Bureau of Statistics. NMA berates stories. Firm backs federal government and plans to ban syringe.
The southeast version of Amatekon. It says here, southeast governors IG to stop influx of monitoring units. Governors play the story of Obasanjo. That newspaper, and we've got Amechi on page 9. PPPRA says Igodalo on appointment of rectors. You've breached your own law, ASUP tells federal government as it says its strike continues. By the way, over the weekend, NARD called up its 10-day strike.
Right.
Yeah, in case you missed that one. On page 5, Boko Haram kills 16 in Borno, Adamawa. Ransom. Shops, schools, UN facilities destroyed. 3 soldiers. Finally, on page 10, financial autonomy for judiciary. Agbakoba tasks.
Starts with this one. Olanyi backs Southeast governors on security outfit against terrorists. The Southeast governors on Sunday said they would set up a joint security vigilante, Gboyega, for the zone. The governor stated this in a communique issued after the first Southeast Security Summit they held with all the heads of security agencies in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Well, this is some sort of backtracking from the Southeast governors. At the time, they came out to say, well, we are not interested in setting up our own, security outfit. But necessity, they say, is the mother of invention.
Yes. I think it's a wise thing that they've come out to do something because other regions are doing it. A joint thing because they don't have that kind of problem. I think 808. To the extent that security agents know why, and it's been blamed on the IPOB Eastern Security Network. That's the reason why they are now forced, to come out to say we must do something. Government, in fact, the government is taking it they're talking of security agencies having to do it together and all. And what the others are doing, because in fact they are even insisting that the security agencies must be
I recall that ESN really started when, the governors refused somewhat to, set up a security agency. And then, these non-state actors then stepped in.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we have the ESN, and now they're just coming up.
Well, they are coming out because people feel that they are shirking their responsibility, and they see the preponderance of attacks all over the place. Was recently touched, and so that's the reason why they had to sit up and say, okay, let's do something. But initially they didn't even want to do anything, and the ESN saw terrorists in quotes, attacking people in villages, in forests and what have you, and they stepped in. But now that there is hue and cry over it, they don't have any choice other than to come out to say, okay, let's do it. And their own, I think they tagged it to Tiger something, so yes, just like the Amotegun and what.
A lot has been said, even during the first part of the show this morning. We talked about restructuring. Security, is part of the sort of restructuring that many people have talked about, which you also spoke about this morning. Do you think, even if the National Assembly or the federal government do not do the needful, do you think Nigeria will somehow, restructure on its own? Because we are seeing a number of, zones now come up with their own security architecture. Right. And it could also mean that some of these governors might stop or reduce the funding they give to the federal police. Is it, die a natural cause or,
There will still be federal police, and that federal police, unless we default, we decentralize the police system, policing infrastructure, the federal police will still be there, being posted here and there, unless during this fifth alteration, this decentralization thing is brought to fore. And I think it's high time we did something. Let states manage their own. The Osun governor, Oyetola, said this some few days ago, that unless you have this state police, it cannot, for instance, control the commissioner of police. And so all these ones are cosmetics. That's the way I see it. Let them decentralize the policing system. It's only people in the communities that can police their area. And that's why I like what Kano State is doing already. It has taken it to the world level. In fact, it's only Kano State that I see doing this community policing. World level, village level, local government level and state level, so that they share experience, they share intelligence, they share information, so that once there is a problem or anybody is seen around that is suspicious at the world level, they take it to the village level, and the leaders and there are traditional rulers who are in charge. I think it's Kano, that Kano model, and they have CCTV, just like you have in Britain, in America, everywhere. Once there is CCTV and you have something that can monitor movement, yes, there is an equipment that can monitor movement, and the CCTV captures it. I think it's something that is good. But the police will still be there. This federal government that we have, they don't want to let go anything. And until they agree to let go so many things, this country will not prosper. This country will not be safe. Look at the attacks, that Lola read, in the Punch. Everywhere, every day is happening. In South Africa that we used to believe, or we were told that one person is killed or raped in every hour. But now it has come to Nigeria. The preponderance of killings all over the place. So I think states should take responsibility. But in fact, that's what is in the law. The governors are the chief security officers of the state. Let them be. That's my suggestion.
It's all the, pretty much all the regions in the country now have their own.
The Delta region, the Niger Delta,
South.
The Niger Delta, South. I think they have their. Well, they are, maybe because that place is a bit peaceful. Although there is kidnapping, very occasional, and you have, headers farmers clash. But I think that place is that maybe because of these militants, that are in that place, people don't find it easy. And riverine area, that people don't find easy, to kidnap or to do much there. That's the reason why they don't have their own security architecture.
Right.
But nearly all the region.
Yeah.
And individually they are doing it, even in the north, because the north is affected very much. Southwest, southeast, affected. I think somewhere. But to cap it off, I think they should decentralize policing
Okay, let me
system.
readjust my question. Now that
Okay.
most of the regions in the country seem to have their own security outfit, what does that mean for the fight against insecurity?
What it means is that if now we can police our states very well.
But
And-
Amotekun has been launched for months now. Would you say you've seen a difference?
Yeah,
like a-
well,
in-
somehow.
in
Yeah, it's
marginal
just,
difference.
yes, it's just started. When you start a project, there must be, K-legs here and there. But I'm sure they are tackling it. But I think the problem has been created by the federal government. How do you allow Amotekun? It's the law that established Amotekun. But without guns, you are insisting that they cannot use guns. I've never seen it. Where it is, if there is a synergy between the federal government and the state government, where you are insisting that they cannot use guns, what are they? You want them to fight kidnappers or bandits, with bare hands kidnappers that carry AK-47? I think the federal government is not realistic. What they should do, allow it to be. If they are helping the federal government, I can imagine if Amotekun carries gun, is allowed to carry. Now, Amotekun operators are allowed to. Southeast thing, the Agu thing, that is happening. Forests, they clear everywhere, and they patrol, the streets, this high roads, along highways. They patrol the highways. I think this thing will minimize considerably.
Okay. Eddie, my final question
Yes.
is on the launch of Ibubiagu. Now, it was on record that the Southwest governors categorically said they had no intentions of having their own security outfits.
No, the
That was
Southeast.
the Southeast, rather.
Yeah.
That was shortly after the launch of Amotekun, and everyone was like, what about the Southeast? And now there's this seeming turnaround. Many at the time inferred that the reason for their hesitation was their political interest
In
in
2023,
So
sure.
what do you think has
You
sort
know,
of changed in that?
uh,
Are
what-
they no longer harboring such intentions?
No, well, what has changed is the fact that if you want to go to anywhere, all politics is local.
Right.
You cannot. A non-state actor that has taken over your role. So you just must come out to say, okay, even if I have that ambition, I must protect my people first, because all politics is local. That is what has changed. The ambition is still there, but they see the ambition winning away.
But I thought they didn't want to mess with like the federal
Yes,
politics and-
even now, even look, if you, I mean, the state factor, federal police there. All the community, must include federal agents, which means they are still tagging along. Whereas in the Southwest, they wanted all over the place will prevail. But one way or the other, I'm sure insecurity, will abate, with this arrangement. But let's see the eastern thing first. This is Ibubiagu. Let's see the way they are going to operate. And another group is saying you cannot do it. No, they won't.
There's,
They won't.
intervention by the governors. It's government sanctioned.
They'll first of all,
vigilante
they
group.
first of all cross their fingers and see how it's going to work. But to stay either working surreptitiously,
Illegally?
well, I mean, insurrection is never legal. So what you have in the ESN and IPOD is
I mean, because
illegal.
before the ESN's, reason for its creation was that the governors were not picking up the slack.
Yeah,
which is why
exactly.
They stepped in, and so they were looked at. Purpose has been rendered, needless.
But the fact remains that even when the government didn't believe in them, either federal or state, the people believe in them. They are the people who have been fighting headers, people who have been killing terrorists in quote, have been killing their people. So they will still be relevant because the people love them. In fact, why Boko Haram has been festering and have been succeeding in quote in some areas is because the people believed in them. Another faction of Boko Haram that was formed, in fact, they started this issue of giving money, loans to people, settling alternative dispute resolution mechanism. They set it up, and they found out that these guys are more proactive than even the government. So that's the reason why we were able to provided that the headers.
Let's Abiola from becoming president. Well, do you think that eventually MKO died?
Gboyega, I was at that ceremony yesterday with my wife, and I told my wife, I mean, how would that they describe him as an African, patriot, a global figure, and all that. We thought I agreed, but I beg to disagree with that statement. And I told my wife, this is not the correct thing that the president said yesterday, because the president went to South Africa and said Abiola is not a messiah, and that contributed to it. Going back, what we saw. Officer, I'm going to level 15. So I've seen this country inside out from the 50s, and I know what he said yesterday didn't represent what actually transpired. But there has not been this love lost between the two of them. Even neither here nor there, but in practical.
Taking quite a number.
Nicholas,
Oh, Nicholas.
Conscious Nigerians there. Or we want to solve from Paul Detective Emory. Secondly, when I saw the governor announcing this about I was almost laughing like this Joseph ever. If you are being told that you occupy Asolof in 2023, to attain it. So the school is welcome because the United Nations, the US government, the UK, the Commander of Police in Ebony and the commanders of the military formations in Ebony appeared constrained when those men they apprehended 2 days ago in front of their wives in that bush. I'll talk it around. Thanks.
Thank you. Very much, Nicholas. You too can weigh in on some of the stories that we have touched on.
Right. We have headlines that we've taken. We've delved into detail in some of them. Hello.
Babari, good morning
I
to
am
you.
Babari. Thank you, my brother. I'm calling from Obanto.
All right.
It is a Gboyega of a thing that is what I want to comment on. For me, I would say no. Why? The attack on the correctional home and all what happened at the police station there. The DSS said against this story. The governor, the chief security officer, within 72 hours, they gave him intelligence that between Okoroja and himself, I think one person can now look into that the blame game. Because I cannot see you they get you 72 hours. One thing that this thing is moving and it will happen. What did you do to forestall, to checkmate that and eventually it happen? I think a very thorough investigation should be conducted. If it is in other climes, you have in 72 hours information has spoken and it happened. I appeal the government. If it is other people have been so it's not required, he would have presented that he failed the state.
Thank you very much, Babari, for your contribution. We have another call coming through. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
We are with you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Olaniyi is the name calling from Abeokuta. Better than a day, I want to appreciate your resourcefulness, sir.
Thank you.
Particularly, you're coming out clean on President Obasanjo's assertion during the investigation yesterday. I think what President Obasanjo is trying to do is to find a way of rewriting history to favor him.
Yeah.
He's trying to tactically clean himself of his bad deeds. With all apologies, but it's in quote. We are more smarter and wiser in Nigeria than that. He has said it before that Abiola was not the Messiah. He cannot turn around now that Batele made some people to do. He was part of it. Let's just go straight to the point. We will be waiting to see how far he will go to polish himself. What is good is good, what is bad is bad. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olaniyi. Let's get to some more calls now. Hello, good morning to you. All right, you have the floor.
I want to react to the statement made by Baba Obiji yesterday.
Okay.
In fact, I believe my ear that Baba can make such a statement. It's true they made it. He is the head of that bad belly because you would have meant to do after them. Baba I finally say my one of the people in the house there. So I'm quite very much surprised that Baba can make it.
Thank you very much, Adisa, for your contribution. Ajisen, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I don't think we should be that about statement because looking at what happened between him and Atiku and how for 2019 election, so I think we shouldn't be surprised. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tajuddin from Magma. Everybody's hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Secretary.
Good morning to you. Nicholas.
Unknown to the police and a central. It's not the same himself.
Thank you very much. Talking about that story is also in the newspapers this morning, especially that of the 13-year-old boy who was kidnapped. The kidnappers demanding for 15 million naira ransom. Maybe I should quickly just run through that story very quickly. It's on page 14. Let me see if I can quickly. Okay, in Ogun State, gunmen in Nigeria Army camouflage kidnapped a 13-year-old boy at the Obadaoko in Eweko local government area on Saturday night. Well, so much happening in the country and closer to home than we want to, accede to. Good morning to you. Hello? Hello? Okay, not ready to speak to us. On Facebook, we have this message. Oyedokun Samuel said, the scenario of Nigeria multifaceted problems needs urgent divine supernatural intervention. Well, I don't know about that, but thank you very much for your contribution. Do we have comments on?
Yes, there's a comment on Twitter, but we'll take this call and get to it.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
Please, we are calling at Cabo Africa.
Okay. Okay.
So please, I was trying to speak Yoruba language.
Please go on.
Okay, so please, banko manager ni moto ni Abẹ́òkúta wọ́n máa ń lọ sí náà tó wọ́n á fẹ́ ṣe ìtò olówó bá a ti fẹ́ wá wíwò ìwọ́pì.
Okay, you want to make advert inquiries.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. We'll let you know. Please stay tuned. We would reel out the number
to get across to the adverts department, the traffic department at the end of the show. So please keep listening. Gboyega, maybe translate what I said to Yoruba.
I'm about you pay number. Ìtajà wa wọ́n á pè yín lẹ́yìn ètò ẹ ṣe gan adúpẹ́.
Okay.
My Yoruba is not as bad.
Well, it's better than mine.
It's better than Lola's. It's better than Lola's.
It is a source of constant embarrassment to me.
So we'll get across to you. We'll pick the number now and just get across to you. So let's take, if you can still call in, we will take your call, but we have comments on Twitter as well.
But let's reel out the numbers to call. If you're trying to get across to the studio, the number to call is 0817-444-1067, 0817-555-1067, and 0704-400-1067. This is Panorama from the pages. We have taken a look at multiple headlines from the pages of Punch and Vanguard newspapers, and we've gone into detail on some of them, such as the Southeast governors launching a security outfit called Gboyega, as well as former President Obasanjo claiming that bad blood did not allow Abiola become president. So if you want to react to any of these, call us up on any of those numbers. Now, let's head to Twitter and take the comments that we have there.
On Twitter, to protect our correctional facilities in Nigeria, which means the security network setup is not meant to protect people in this region. There is God, say good morning. Ayuade Shorunke said OBJ had all it takes to ensure the will of Nigerians during 1993 was upheld, but he chose to support his military constituency, who believed that MKO knew too much of them and made unfortunate comments. OBJ was MKO senior by a year, but he did final exam the same year. Let's make this a final call. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Meduteni.
You have the floor. Please make it quick.
I want to talk about what Tanko Yakasha said about our president. And I think he's very right. You are being deceived by the military regime. We are thinking they are more apple major for decision making. But now, we expected much from him. And that's why most Nigerians voted for him. And what are we seeing now? What are we so? In fact, we are getting more than we bargained for. And it is not good for the country. This has taught us a lesson that we should stop looking at individuals if we want to make good decisions. We should pray and we should try to push our legislators to give us a very good law that will bring about a workable institution.
Thank you very much,
very much.
Afolabi. We appreciate it, but we have to cut you off at this juncture because we've got to go. And we have a few comments left on Twitter. Critical Scorpio says, security outfits everywhere show the state has failed. Gboyega is welcome. And he also replies to Babs there, so I'm going to leave that one. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Do we have the number for the traffic department?
We've harvested his own number, so the traffic department will get across to him. But thank you very much, Eddie Aino, veteran journalist and public affairs analyst. We do appreciate your input.
Thanks for having me.
Time.
Thank you for being with us from 8 o'clock this morning. Join us. Let's do this again tomorrow from 8. Panorama will make a return. My name is Lola Meduteni.
My name is Gboyega. Olaniyi, enjoy the rest of the day.